Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Max and the Maine Stamper. I am here for our weekly card class from Maine. It is Monday again, and we are back to doing a card class this week. If you were with me last Monday, we actually did a sit and sip and a stroll through the Stampin' Up! Retiring list. And I went through both catalogs, both the annual catalog and the spring mini, and I showed you everything that is retiring. And then I also shared which items are on a discount. Some of them up to 60%. Some of them are still on sale up to 60%. Some things are already sold out. So the sale started last week. There's still time to check it out and get some really good deals. You can get bundles for less than $20. Now, if you know Stampin' Up's bundles, most of them are $50 to $55. So 60% off a bundle and getting it for under $20 is a huge steal. And this week, of course, as always, when I have my card classes, hi Rhonda, when I have my card classes, I also offer card kits when you order with me using my host code. And we're going nested friends today. I'm going to give you kind of like a sneaky peek here. So, and these are the seasons. I'm calling these the seasons of the nested friends because we're actually kind of covering spring, summer, and fall. We're not doing winter. We just got over winter, like it's spring now, and we're doing spring, summer, fall. So I have some very seasonal cards to share with you with this bundle, which makes it so versatile as well. Now the Nested Friends bundle, I do not believe is carrying over. It's not in the new catalog. I'm not sure if it's going to be in the online store for a while, but if this is something that you like, you definitely want to get it before the end of this month. So let's get over to my workspace. I'm going to start sharing with you all the good details, and make sure you're saying hi as you jump on. And if you're watching replay, hi replay friends, and hi YouTube friends as well. I take my Facebook Live that I do at 8 o'clock on my Maine Stamper Facebook page, and I pop it over to YouTube for all my friends over there, and I really appreciate you guys watching on YouTube as well. So here we go. Without further ado, let me get you to my workspace, and we're going to start working on the Nested Friends bundle. Now this bundle can be found in the mini catalog on page 25 if you want to see some samples that the fine artists at Stampin' Up have done. There's also, I always want to draw your attention, in the very back where they list the bundles again, this one would be on page 80, there's another card sample. So it's really nice to have the catalogs because there are card samples. Speaking of having a catalog, if you need an annual catalog from me, they just came in and I will be shipping them out. So you've got to make sure that you sign up for one this year. I put out information where you can register for an annual catalog from me. I'm very excited to start sharing them. Catalogs are awesome from Stampin' Up! Because they give you the samples, they give you ideas, and that is one of my favorite things about Stampin' Up! Because they do that. You get the catalogs, you get the ideas, and that's just like priceless, really, because we all love that. Now, let's see. Here's the bundle. We've got the Nested Friends Cling stamp set, and I have mounted up all but 2 stamps tonight. So I love when I can go through and use a whole bunch of different stamps. I see that my case is slightly crooked. So I love that I can use a whole bunch of them. And I actually, for this die set, the Nested Friends dies, I used all the dies on the cards tonight. So every die that's in here I actually have used, which is awesome. Now of course you're getting some repeats, but you're getting a lot of little leaves and they are fantastic and adorable. You have a branch, you have eggs, you have the outline of the bird and the nest separately. So these 2 things right here, of course the branch was also in there. And then you have some interesting items here that are going to make your fillers for your nest. So you can actually, if you don't want to stamp and you just want to use the fillers, you can do that. Very versatile. I really like this set a lot. Of course there's a sweet little birdie here. So we're going to be playing with this quite extensively. So that is a look at the bundle. Here's a look at the card kits. So these are the card kits that are going to come in the mail if you order with me this week using host code JUD9Y. So it's Judy with a 9 in the middle almost, right? QE7. So that's my host code. $35 order using that. This week we'll get you these card kits. There's 2 of each. So you're going to make 6 cards for your $35 order. That's a really good deal, right? If you order $50 or more, you're going to get the card kits and you get a free embellishment. And the embellishments that I'm doing this week are on my cards. They're the Iridescent Pastel Gems. They're actually Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue, and they call them gold, although I feel like they're very pale in color. So you get these 3 colors of gems. They're very sparkly, and you get 2 sizes. And this is my partial pack. I'm going to send you a full pack. Don't worry. I'm not going to steal your gems. So that's how you're going to get that great deal with me this week. So let's start with our first card. This is the card I'm calling Spring. So here's a look at it. It's Flirty Flamingo. It's got lots of pinks in it. And I felt like this was a nice spring card. Now, I like to kind of, I like to play with color. I think you guys know if you've been following me for a while. I love to play with colors so much. Color's like my favorite thing. And I really wanted to do something totally different. I don't think a lot of people would expect a pink card with nested friends. You can see how I've used these little die cut leaves in here, kind of giving us a little waterfall of the, I just love that part. Like that might be my favorite part of the card, and that was the last thing that I put on here. So here's your card kit. We're going to look through it together. Everything that you get, you're going to get 2 envelopes. You're going to get 2 card bases. If it needs to be die cut and it doesn't belong to the Nested Friends bundle, I will do that. I will emboss. You've got a little wood grain embossing right here. I'm going to separate these out because I always assemble one with you live so you can see what all these parts are for, and then when you have your kit at home you're doing the same. Now your designer series paper is basically it's a chunk of one cut in half. I don't know which way this goes. Maybe it goes this way. It does. It goes this way. Now, and the reality is, if you like this side, you could use this on your card. Let's say you don't even want the nested birds, but you want to place an order, get some really great deals and clearance, and you want the card kits. You could really make a great card kit without anything bird-like at all. Look at how pretty that is together, right? So I try to make the kits so universal that, you can use them no matter if you have this bundle or if you are using your own items at home and substituting in. I know a lot of you substitute in. I think it's fantastic. I love to see what you substitute, by the way, because it just blows my mind, the creativity. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. All right, so we have a Flirty Flamingo base. And we have a whole bunch of layers. And of course, if you know, I like to do a lot of matting. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do some gluing. This is, one of my favorite things is to just add paper on paper on paper. Now this is Crumb Cake. Crumb Cake is a neutral color in the core family here that is coming back. We're putting this on a mat of white cardstock. And they layer together just nicely because I've downsized them 1/4 of an inch at a time. I am going to glue this pretty flower down. I know, I'm sorry, I'm sad too, but I do want to see, this is kind of like a sunset or a sunrise sky maybe, right? It's got those pinks and those yellows, and I just think it's really, really pretty. And we're going to actually bump this up on some dimensionals because that's going to just give our card not only lift, but it's going to give it some more prominence. When you can bump something up, like a big feature instead of the mini features, it really is kind of more of a wow factor. And I have a brand new set again of dimensionals, so I'm really excited. It's the little things, right, that excite us, like woohoo, new dimensionals, a whole new sheet. So I'm just going to pop some on here. I'm going to see if I feel comfortable with that. I think I want 2 more on there. I try to go minimally as possible, and then I add as needed. All right, so I'm feeling confident with that. So you can see my original here. I do have it slightly to the right here. You could definitely do it left if you prefer, and you could do it center. I mean, there are so many options with these kits. I like to leave some creativity up to you so that you can have fun at home too. But of course, if you get the kits and you want to rewatch this video, when you get them to assemble, and I also send PDF directions. So you're going to have directions that are going to kind of, first they're going to give you the card recipe, and secondly they're going to walk you through just the basic steps. So you don't even have to rewatch this if you don't want to, and you're going to get a picture of the finished cards as well. So make it oh so easy. And you know what I forgot to do? I'm talking away, la 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 la. I forgot to do birthday wishes. We're going to do some bold embossing today. Normally I would have embossed this right here before I glued it all down, but I was just busy. I was so excited about this spring card, I totally forgot I needed to emboss this. So we're going to do this a little bit differently today. Now, I do not recommend this at home. This is not what I intended to do, but we are going to go for it. So I'm going to take the birthday wishes. We didn't talk sentiments, did we? In our stamp set, we have birthday wishes, best friends, make the good times better and the hard times easier. We have thank you, and we have always thinking of you. So these are just some really great generic sentiments, because we're always using birthday, we're always, you know, using thinking of you, thank you. Those are just like the best ones, right? So I am, hopefully in camera, I'm grabbing out my birthday wishes with my Versamark. I am going to go for this. This is going to work out. I'm going to have confidence and faith. I'm going to stamp this down, and we're going to bring in our powder, and we're going to do this just like so. And it looks like it's going to be okay. There we have it. We're going to heat emboss this. Wow. Crisis averted. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I totally forgot that. Now I do see that I have a slight shadow. It might be really hard to see. So I'm just going to bring in a little paintbrush, and I'm going to sweep away that extra little bit of embossing powder that I don't want. And I think we're looking good. Let me grab my heat tool. Is it plugged in? Yes, it is. All right. While this is heating up for just a second, I'm going to pop over and check on who's watching. Hi, Patty. Hi, Sandra. Oh, pretty colors indeed. I love these colors so much. All right, my heat tool is getting warm. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to create birthday wishes on the designer paper. And this will be done in just a second. Should not take too long. Here she goes. Look how bright it comes out. I just love when you can emboss on designer series paper. I believe that is good. All right, and I had that on high heat because you always want to emboss on high heat. So there we go, crisis averted. Now this is up a little bit higher, but that's perfectly fine. I kind of like it up that way. And I see that my paper kind of wanted to warp a little bit with the heat too. But it is glued down. It'll be okay. As I mentioned earlier, in case you're tuning in a little late, I did things a little backwards today. I totally meant to emboss this before I glued all these layers together, and I got them bumped on dimensionals too. How crazy is that? All right, moving on. We did that. We conquered the heat embossing today. All right, so let's put down our little. I don't know if you can tell, but this is embossed with the timber embossing folder. And I'm going to bring in some paper to work on, because I'm going to also want to add, so this is a crumb cake cardstock, and I have a crumb cake dauber here, crumb cake ink. So it's all tone on tone. And as I add this in, I want you to see how differently it becomes, right? So we're adding in some ink. You can really see the grooves now in the wood here. So it's just going to darken that down and just make it a little bit more obvious. Now we're covering up quite a bit of it, and this will lighten as well. I'm going to bring in my first card here, and you can barely see it. I mean, you can barely see it. It looks really dark right now. So in it, actually, it might be a little darker. I did refill my ink pad. It was so dry. I could not get much of an image out of it. So, as always, I say, buy that ink refill when you buy your stamp pad, because you're going to need it eventually. And my crumb cake was so dry, I had to re-ink it twice. I had to do a lot of re-inking. So I'm just putting this down here as on my finished card here. It's going to kind of hold my bird nest up. So I'm not using the branch for this card, but I wanted the bird nest to appear like it's sitting on a beam or a ledge or something. I just didn't want it floating in the middle of the air. That would be a little odd, I think. All right, so what do I have over here for all of these things? I'm going to stamp the nest. This is the nest. And this card really showcases, actually a lot of my cards showcase, easy stamping without spending a ton of time coloring. Because I'm all about easy stamping without spending a ton of time coloring. And I feel like I went a little low on that. But look how detailed and awesome this bird nest is. Let's do a do-over. We have side 2. We're gonna do take 2 here. I'm gonna go up a little bit higher just to show you that you do have room on this cardstock. If you're doing this at home, we are going to be die cutting this with our dies. And this is going to die cut out with this big background die right here. So we're just going to line this up in our emboss machine, and when we get done, it's going to come out like this. So this is what it looks like when we're all die cut. So that is so cool, right? So I have that one die cut already, just to save a little bit of time. And now we're going to move on to, oh, actually I'm going to leave the crumb cake open. We have some paper here. We have some crumb cake, we have petal pink, and I'm going to show you that at home, if you're doing the cards just like I am, you're going to take this really interesting die, and you're going to do that on the crumb cake, and you're going to take this really interesting die. This is the inner side of the nest. So you're going to do that on the petal pink. So those are the two things you would be die cutting next, and I did die cut them out ahead of time. So this is what looks like from this to this. And I want to point out, and this is so interesting, it was just Easter. I hope you guys all had a really great Easter. As I darken this down a little bit with my crumb cake, this die, and I looked at it just recently because I just started playing with this, and I thought, oh my gosh, this looks so much like the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during the crucifix, right? And I actually saw someone use this on a cross. So they made a cross and they put this over the top of the cross, and I thought, wow, that was just really symbolic. So it's really interesting when you can take a die and you can totally, this is supposed to be a bird nest, but you can totally make this into something else as well. So we're going to be using that in our bird nest. And we also have the one from Petal Pink. Now this is the inside, and it does emboss as well, so it gives you some kind of neat embossing there. But I'm going to bring in the sponge and this little dauber here and some crumb cake. And I don't want it to be quite as pink. I still want it to be pink, but not quite as pink. So I'm going to deepen that down just a little bit, and probably dip my card base in ink. I'm having that kind of day. So when it comes in here, it's just going to be a little bit darker, which is fantastic. All right, so that shows you what you're using your cardstock pieces for. Those are a couple of more dies. Oh, this white die or this white paper right here is going to be for the eggs. Now there's 3 eggs. They're all attached together, but when you die cut them out, they come out. I've just picked up all my little pink leaves too. They come out in these just adorable little individual eggs, right? Now you can do these obviously in different colors. If you wanted to use these in the future for Easter cards, you could do them in all kinds of colorful cardstock, mix and match them, put them in a little basket. I mean, so cute, right? But these are our little eggs. You're going to die cut this white paper that I'm sending to you with the egg die if you're creating the same card at home. And these little leaves. Now that's where your flirty flamingo again comes in. So there are so many different little leaf dies. Actually, how many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 individual ones, and they all have 3 leaves in them. So again, it looks like they're going to just be one piece, but they die cut out and then they become these little individual leaves. And what's really great about them is they also have some really interesting embossing in them. Like they've got the veins that just are just put right into them, which is so awesome. All right, so let's finish up our card. I think I'm done with this, so I don't need to do any more damage with that one. And by damage, I mean, have you guys done this before? Have you had a card that you've been working on, and you have open ink pads, and you dip the back? I don't know how many cards I have that I've gotten the back dipped, but anyway. Maker's marks, right? Maker's marks. Okay, so we're going to put our bird nest on here next. So the nice part about this is that these little berries here at the top are just going to land nicely underneath our birthday wishes and kind of emphasize that little sentiment that we already put on there. And I'm just putting this on flat. This is just going to go on here flat. Now this, again, this is quick and easy, right? Because we didn't color it. It's just crumb cake ink on white cardstock. No coloring. I mean, and if you like it like this, you could probably stop right here, add your little different things on it and so on, but we're going to continue. I wanted to play with these little pieces. So we're going to add this petal pink inner nest, and it's got some crazy little twigs sticking out of it too. And I feel like it does have an orientation. So I think if you have this at home, you're going to kind of see the circular orientation where you kind of know which way it's going to go. Now this one is very thin. So the reality is I kind of just dot this a little bit with glue and hope for the best. Like this is one of those that it's really, really, like if you have adhesive sheets, this is a good one for adhesive sheets. By putting it on the back of my hand, I'm actually getting glue here, but it's also taking away some of the glue. So I kind of like that process as well. And this is going to come right over top of here. I'm actually going to flip it and rub. I think I got some glue on the back of my card base, which goes really nicely with the ink that is not supposed to be on there. All right, so here we go. And of course it's pulling a little bit this way. So there we go. So you can kind of see now how my nest has come together. It's kind of muted the browns and the pinks and got them all, you know, kind of going in all kinds of good directions here. Now to add in these little tiny eggs, probably going to need my little pick tool here. I'm just going to put I'm going to put glue, just 3 dots of glue right in the middle of my nest, because it's just going to be easier to pick these up. Yep, make sure I got the right side up, and then plop them into the nest, and then kind of pick up some glue. Now, if you have the ability to kind of move them underneath your branches, because not every little twig here was glued down. As you recall, I kind of scattered my glue. I think I need more glue here for this last egg. We'll put a little bit more there. One of my eggs took up a little bit more glue than he should have. All right, so we're going to see if we can get this to tuck under a little bit. All right, so there's so cute, right? And the bright white, so we've got the white on a matte layer, we've got the white here on the background of our nest, and we've got the white on the eggs and the white in the sentiment. So they really kind of help to brighten up this card. There's quite a bit of white, but let's put in these beautiful little twiggy things, these little leaves. And I'm just going to start putting them, I'm going to dry fit them here onto my card, and just kind of layer them how I want them to go maybe. And I mean, just so cute and whimsical. I love these little leaves. We definitely want one down here at the bottom. That one fits down there really nicely. I have glue there. This is a kind of a sticky card right now. I'm going to bring in my little adhesive eraser here. And I'm just going to remove a little bit of this glue off the bottom. And that's going to be much, much better. All right, so I think I can probably fit one more. So you can see that these are different sizes. Maybe we'll bring another small one in up here. Yeah, I kind of like the 4 at the top and then 1 at the bottom. All right, so when I did these, I picked them up, I flipped them over, and now if they stay on this little sticky thing, it's awesome, and sometimes they don't. So sometimes I was kind of manipulating them in different ways. I'm going to flip my tool over and just kind of press these down on here. These are a little fidgety because they're so tiny. It's these little tiny things, right, that make the biggest impact. So this one's going to fall off. I can feel it. It's all wiggly. If I can catch it, we're good. Okay, so this one I'm just going to put on with my fingers like so. Now, if you watched my sit and sip last week where we talked about what's retiring, I also gave you guys some hints about what's coming. There are some new things coming. There's some new tools here for our Take Your Pick tool that I'm really excited about. That's going to come off there. All right, just the teeniest little bit of glue here. And we're going to just put those down on there. A couple more. I just love this Flirty Flamingo. This one's going to come off too. As much as I want that to work, sometimes it just a little bit too much. Okay. So this again is our spring card, our spring nested friends card. Now there's no birds on this one, so I didn't put the bird on every card. I didn't put the bird nest on every card. It's nice to be able to mix and match and kind of change those things up. Now you're going to have extra leaves. If you die cut as many as you can on the little strip that I give you, you may have some extras. That would be so cute on the inside. And I never decorate the inside when I'm online here, but definitely you could go in and put an insert in here if you wanted to, add those inside. So adorable. And we're going to add some of these great little blings. Now I'm going to use the lightest colored ones for this card because they really match the theme here, the pinky theme. So let's see if I can get these off of here. And we're going to just put a few on here, just like so. So I got my little triangle going on here. So here is our spring card, just like that. We had a few faux pas, but I kind of figured that all out. We definitely embossed later than we should have, but that's okay. It worked out really well. And all in all, I think the card turned out great. We just want to be careful with our ink pads. Open ink pads are very dangerous. I know that open ink pads are very dangerous. Oh my goodness. This is not the first time that has happened either. So there is card number 1. I'm just going to check to make sure that everything seems to be working good. Okay, looks like I'm still live. Perfect. All right, so spring card is complete. I love that one. Let me know what you're thinking about my spring card. If you like that one, we're going to move on to our next card now. And we're going, this one I thought was more summertime card, right? We've got the blues in here, the balmy blues. I really like this one. So we actually have a couple of the birds. Now this time we're going to be bringing the birds in. We're going to do a little bit of coloring. Not a lot of coloring, just a little bit. This one has the sentiment, best friends make the good times better and the hard times easier. And this card kit is all about blue and white. And I love this. I think it's just really awesome. So we're going to go ahead and pull out the card kit and separate things. So I'm going to be sending you die cut pieces, embossed pieces. This one happens to be the Merry Melody embossing folder. You're going to get 2 of each of Designer Series paper. Now, of course, there's other colors, but I'm really focusing on the blue for this one. And this is a combination of the gingham pack and the country bouquet pack. So I've got some different blues in here. I'm going to separate all these out. My goodness, I have glue on my hand somewhere, and it keeps bringing back all of the things. All right, so let's separate all of our pieces. Enough for 2 cards. One there, one there, one there. All of the good things. I'm going to remove the card bases, and I'm going to bring in a balmy blue base that I have ready to rock and roll. All right, so for this one, so we're using the Designer Series paper, and these are great strips. This is a great way to use your Designer Series paper. You can do any theme, any colors. You can change up colors. So think about this when you're working with some of your designer papers, and you want to use them up, right? You've got some great strips. These are 3/4 inch wide. And the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to just pick a pattern. Now we're going to work on this white layer, so it's going to make it just easier to play with these for just a minute and decide which order you want them to go in, because we've got some checks and we've got some stripes. We've got all the good things. I think I like this. Obviously, change it up a little bit. You're going to get 2 card kits, so you're going to be able to create 2 completely different cards if you want to. So I like that way that this looks, and I'm going to go ahead and start laying these down. So again, I'm going to just bring in my glue, and I'm going to kind of I'm eyeballing the top and bottom matting and the side matting, right? So I'm kind of deciding about where it's going to go. If it's a little bit crooked, we always cover up. We put so many things in the card that it's not the most prominent thing. I'm going to tell you a secret. The first one that I did, I got done putting my designer paper on it. I looked at it and went, ooh, that's crooked. That to me was crooked. And then once I got all of the card parts and pieces on there, I just wasn't focusing so much on how the designer paper went down. I was focusing more on, like, look at the birds and look at all the different things on this card. And so it's okay if they're a little bit crooked, right? I mean, this is good practice too. And if you make a lot of cards like this, you're going to get really good at just eyeballing and putting down your layers. So just like that, we have 4 nice strips of pretty colors, Designer Series paper on there, and that's just going to go right flat on onto our card base. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down next. Make sure we're opening. Now, of course, this one, that's what I wanted to point out. This one has orientation. The hearts is the only one that has an orientation. There are little white hearts in here. Don't put them on upside down. That would be sad. Okay, so we're going to do this the right way. Again, my card opens this way. I want to double check. And there we go, just like that. Phew, I almost had another disaster. This must be the Monday of disasters. It's early into April here. We're going to get it into gear. So here we go. So you can see where we're starting here with our awesome and amazing summer card. I'm calling this the summer card. Now this is all balmy blue. I'm going to bring in balmy blue. I'm actually cheating. I'm using a sponge today. I know. I love the sponges. I still have all my sponges. I feel like when you have a bigger item, if you're not using your blender brushes, which I didn't want to do for this one, I just wanted to do the edges, and I thought, wow, the dauber is going to take longer because it's a smaller thing, right? So I'm like, I'm bringing in my sponge. You can let me know in the comments. Do you like to use just regular wedges of sponge in your crafting? Just because Stampin' Up decided to not carry them anymore. I mean, I still have a bunch of them. I still love them. It gives some quick color to our, and as I put it down here on here, hopefully you can see how much brighter that looks before I added that ink on. It's just beautiful. I love it. All right, so I cheated. I used the wedge. Now this is the Merry Medley embossing folder. I think that these notes are kind of in all directions, which is really good for people like me who don't really know how to read music. So you can put it on here, and then you can just decide which of your notes you want to have up or down, because it's a circle, right? So it'll go on here just like that. It'll be beautiful. Did I put this on dimensionals? I did put that on dimensionals. Let's do that. We're going to put 4 on here, I think. This is a pretty hefty size scallop circle. This is the biggest scallop circle in those layering circle dies. This is the largest one. So again, we're just deciding, I think the notes look best this way. And we're going to put this on maybe right about here, because we have to have room to put our sentiment. We have to put our little birdies on. Oh my goodness, the little birdies. All right, so you have a whole bunch of things here left over. These 2 pieces are going to be your sentiment pieces, and these pieces are going to be your bird pieces. And actually we need to do more than that. I didn't grab them all out. Let's go. Okay, 2 branches, 2 birdies. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to do this in Memento ink because we are going to be using some Stampin' Blends to do some coloring. So we're going to bring in the bird, we're going to bring in the branch, and we need the ink. All right, so this is a long branch stamp. So I'm just going to put it upside down, add the ink to it, and we're going to go ahead and stamp it. Not once, but twice, because we are going to do 2 branches. So we'll go ahead and ink this up again. So we've got 2 branches that we're going to work with. And then from there, we're going to bring in the birds. And actually, I think we can get 2 birdies on one of these. Yes, one of these pieces. There we go. So then when I do the birds, when I die cut them, because there's only 1 bird die, I'm going to cut them in half. And I have 2 branches that I'll be able to die cut as well. And then while we have this nice ink out, let's do our sentiment. Best friends right here. And I have a very narrow piece of white. I like to keep it pretty narrow. Now I want to point out, this is something interesting. When I mounted these, I realized that the way the red rubber is cut, it's very close to the bottom, and there's a lot of space right here at the top, which means that even though my sticker is centered, my sentiment is not. This is actually going to be lower than I expect it when I stamp it. So it's always a good idea to test run your stamps too when you stamp, because then you'll know. So I know that this is lower than, so I'm going to actually lift this up a little bit higher than my paper and hope for the best. I did manage to get it all on there. So there we go. Best friends. Woohoo! Love it. All right, so there's my sentiment. Now for the sentiment, I am going to layer it on some balmy blue. And what I'm going to do to mat this the way that I want to mat this is I'm going to trim this first. So I'm just going to bring in some scissors or some snips, whatever you want to use. Sometimes I grab my good ones, sometimes I grab my not good ones. As long as I'm not grabbing my fabric ones, we are happy. All right, so the first thing I did was I trimmed this at an angle, and now I'm going to actually glue this onto my balmy blue mat, and I'm going to leave an outside on the right and top and bottom matted around. So if you're looking at this, it just shifted. If you're looking at this, I'm correcting it. Okay, so if you're looking at this, we've got the matting here on 3 sides, right? And we have a very long piece over here. Now this is where I'm going to bring my scissors back in, and I'm going to use the same angle that I used the white, and I'm going to mat it at approximately the same matting. Maybe that's not quite the same. Maybe I want to go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to try it one more time, right? Okay, so now it looks like it's perfectly matted, and that's a good way to do this if you want to. Now, if you had glued the whole thing down and tried to cut it, you would be cutting the white and the blue at the same time. You wouldn't have that little extra matting there on the side, and that's going to come on here. It's just so fabulous. I really like the black. I like the classic black with this this blue and white. Now we're going to put this down with dimensionals also, because our circles have some dimension here, and I'm going to put one there, and I'm going to put one snugged up right here next to my little circle, and I'm going to catch these 2 on my white, on my sentiment. I just wanted to make sure that those were going to work out well. And if you want to, you can add a little bit of glue here at the bottom too, because it's going to catch the middle piece of this. And I'm just going to try to line this up here, straight, hopefully. And then that's going to go across there. And how awesome is that? Like, right? That is so awesome. Now, again, this is a card that you may be putting a different sentiment on, and you may not be adding any birds to at all, or branches, right? This is the bones of your card. You could put anything else on here that you want to. However, we are going to die cut our birds and our little branches. And when we do so, I already did it. Ta-da! Magic, right? So I actually did an extra one because one of them didn't turn out quite as nicely as I wanted it to. That's my reject. All right, so now we have 2 branches, and we have, by the magic of power of TV right here, we've got 2 birdies. So we're going to do a little bit of coloring. I'm going to bring my scrap back in so we can color on this. Now this is quick coloring. This isn't too crazy because I don't do long coloring. Now because I'm gonna layer these 2 together over here at the end, and I don't want that extra little branch, extra little leaf showing. I'm going to trim one of these off. I think I'm going to trim this one off. So this little leaf right here, you don't want that. It can go. Now it's just a nice smooth branch, and then this one will be on top, and this one will have the extra little leaf sticking up, so we don't have to like overlap 2 leaves close together, because then it looks kind of artificial. It doesn't quite look real. So we're going to do coloring now, and I have a great assortment of blends here, so we're just going to do really quick coloring because I don't take a long time to color. I'm using a dark brown. This is the SU200, and I did the entire tree branch. I did the entire tree branch in this brown color, and it will dry lighter. At first when I put this ink down, I was like, whoa, that is really dark ink, like really dark ink, but it will dry a little bit lighter than that, which is nice. And then you can see the details. Once it dries, you can see these little black outlines and little details again, but when you first start to put the ink down, it's really dark. And of course you can use whatever color browns that you prefer. You can use the Stampin' Up markers if you prefer. There's no wrong way. Oh, and another great, I think, way to color these would be to use my words are stuck. Watercolor pencils. That's what they are. I had to look at them. I had to actually turn my head to look at my watercolor pencils to remember what they are called. I didn't look at words that said watercolor pencils. I just had to look at them because they're sitting in a little case off to the side here. Now I'm using some dark old olive, and I'm just going to do half of the leaves wherever there is the detail. So in the stamp there's some dark lines right here, and I'm just doing the half that has those details in it, and I'm going to come back through and do the light olive on the other half, and it's going to make it look a little two-tone. So there we go, dark olive, and then we're going to use the light, and we're just going to come back in here and touch these up real quickly. And again, I am not the world-class colorer. I don't take a lot of time to color. I definitely like to stamp and go. So this is enough for me. Just this little bit of green here, this little bit of brown. We're good with that, right? All right, so there's my branches are done. We'll put those away, and they're going to come on my card, and they're going to be beautiful. So we're going to crisscross them, just as I had said earlier. And this is something definitely you can take a little bit of time to play with too. But they're going to come on here, and they're going to look like that. Looks like one of my little embellishments was starting to come off. All right, let's talk about these lovely little bluebirds, or birds that have blue in them. I'm not sure what color, you know, what the real coloring thing is going on here. I did try to make one of them a little darker and one a little lighter, because I know that female birds are a little bit lighter and less pretty than the male birds. So I'm going to start out with a little bit of the light balmy blue, and I'm going to take the dark balmy blue, and I'm going to do my dude over here. He's going to have more. He's going to have a lot more blue in him. And I'm just going to lay down some color. Now, I'm going to be coloring over top of these as well, several times. And then I have the crumb cakes. So I'm going to use the crumb cakes, and I'm going to go around and do all of this detail image here in crumb first. So just kind of scribble on these colors. I don't get too crazy with where they go. Come down his tail a little bit. Now I'm going to just kind of come up and do kind of in around his face and inside his body a little bit. Same thing with my friend over here. And to be honest, I added extra color after. So I kind of colored and colored and colored until I was happy. Now I'm going to bring in the dark crumb here, and I'm going to come back through and I'm going to do a little bit more dark crumb here on the outsides. Kind of down his tail here a little bit. And same thing, we're going to come back through and do this one too. And I've seen some really great samples of the coloring for these, so I mean, definitely, you know, if you're interested in this set and you want to know how to make really pretty birds, there's so many great options out there. Coming back in here now again with the light one, and we're just going to kind of reblend some of this blue so it doesn't look so obviously blue. Come back and around his head a little bit. So the best thing about the blends is you can just continue to add layers here. You can add more and more layers of ink right over top of ink, and it won't pill up your paper. So that's kind of a nice thing. It's a nice feature. I'm gonna come in with a little bit more of this blue. Make this guy a little bit bluer again. Okay. And then the last thing I did was I took some pumpkin pie. This is the light, because I felt like his beak needed to be kind of orange in color, a little bit orange. So just that tiniest little bit right there is going to go on there. And there's my little birdies. That's as much coloring as I'm going to do on them. Hopefully they're a nice little pair, right? They're a little duo here. I thought with the sentiment best friends, we needed 2 birds, not just 1 bird, but 2 birds. All right, so to put my little branches down, I'm just going to put glue here in the middle. I'm not going to go all the way to the either end, because as you can see here, they're going to come off, and I don't want the glue to be sticky everywhere. So what I need to do is pay attention to where it's going to line up side to side and where it's going to line up. I don't want to cover up my words for my sentiment. And then this one I'm going to bring in, kind of do the same thing, center, adhesive only. And then I'm going to layer this off of here. This one may look totally different, and that's okay too. I think every time I make a card, it looks slightly different. So you can use up however much of the circle you want, so you kind of see where I'm going. I put the ladybird down, and then I put this guy up at on a dimensional. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lay this little pretty bird down, and we're just going to put this on here, little bird with the adhesive. And after that, we're going to put a dimensional on the back of the male bird. So he's just, so that way they're kind of sitting, I can tuck them a little bit and have them, you know, not look like they're exactly the same. And I'm also going to just bring him up just slightly. So there's my little bird cards, right? We need some bling though, of course. We've got the bling here. Again, from our embellishment pack, I'm using the Balmy Blue. And this works out perfectly for the Balmy Blue card, right? So we're going to put a big one down here, and I think I used 2 small ones up here. And we have our perfect little best friend card right there. Isn't that beautiful? Now I'm calling this the summer card. This is the summer card look. So we've covered spring. If you're just tuning in now, this was our spring card. We covered spring, pink and pretty, and then we just covered summer. So here is card number 2. This one had a lot of coloring. It didn't have intense coloring, but there was a bit of coloring that took place for this last card that we just did. Now we're going to roll right into our autumn card. I'm just going to come back over and check to see. Hi, Jess. Jess, don't worry about being late, because I didn't even put this event together until like 7:30. Hi, Linda. Hi, Kathy. I'm glad you're loving it. So yeah, sometimes I'm fly by the seat of my pants girl. I really pulled this class off in like the nick of time. Like, I know I'm going to come live every Monday at 8, but I'm not always ready to do so. So I just, you know, I call it artistic endeavors, right? I'm artistic, and you can't schedule art. I'm sorry. Like, you can schedule time for art, but you can't schedule how long it's going to take you to create something, because sometimes, as you guys know, it could take you hours or it could take you minutes. So sometimes I struggle with time frames. But anyway, we are here tonight and we are working on card number 3. This is our autumn card. I'm calling this the autumn card. We are using Cajun Craze. I love Cajun Craze with Petal Pink. Both colors that are coming back. So we've got 2 envelopes, we've got 2 card bases. I always have a spare card base ready to go. And then I'm just going to pull apart all these layers. So you're getting Petal Pink, you're getting Cajun Craze again. This one has that leaf fall embossing folder, which is really awesome. I thought it was perfect for this fall card. So again, some more Petal Pink, some designer series paper. You're getting some circle punches, another Petal Pink circle punch with the same embossing. So this is the leaf fall again. So we got a little birdie, we got a sentiment. All right, there are the parts and pieces to put together this fantastic card. And we are going to rock and roll again with the layers, because that's just my favorite thing. I love the layers. And so when your card kits come, you have a lot of options. You don't have to use everything that's included in your card kit, but how much fun is it to be able to use just all these parts and pieces that are already like ready to go. You didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to design it. You didn't have to die cut it. You didn't have to punch it, you know, unless you're doing, of course, the birds and things like that. But you do have a really great start to these cards. And so we're going to start with, again, with our base. We're putting on a layer of the Petal Pink just to brighten this base up. And then we're putting on this great layer that is embossed, going to come to you embossed with this leaf embossing folder feature right here. Again, lots of mats and layers, right? It's like my favorite thing. This card actually is probably the easiest, which is nice, because sometimes you just want something that's quick and easy. Now this, you can see the beautiful designer paper here. This was not meant to be used on this card. I don't think the espresso goes, and certainly the orientation is a little bit different. So I'm just, again, layering and layering and layering. I have lots of matted layers, some little bit of designer series paper. This could be on either side, but I do like it. I like it on this side, and I would like it if it stayed there. Would we like to stay there? Let's press from the back for a second. Make sure that the adhesive is setting up. And there we go. Look at that. When we put this on here just like that, this is your card kit right here. You don't have to put a bird on here. You can definitely change it up, but this is like the bones of a card kit. So again, these are very universal. They're not, you know, not, I don't want you to look at this and go, I don't like birds. I don't want those card kits. I mean, the reality is this is your card kit. This would be a great fall card. So you could do anything else. That's where we're at, guys, until we put the bird on here. So you've got the sentiment piece and a piece of Petal Pink, and we're going to bring the bird back in. And I do need to clean him up because we did him in Memento last. So he's going to get a quick swipe here. And I'm going to show you another way that you can use the bird. I'm looking for my ink. This time we're going to go with Early Espresso. So another way to use the bird without a lot of coloring is to stamp on colored cardstock. So we've got the Petal Pink here, and we've got Early Espresso ink. And again, so easy and fast, because that's kind of just, I love to do that, right? So here's little bird. Look at how cute he is. Now look how different he looks here, right? We still have some doctoring up to do. This is what he looks like right now, but we're going to change him up. And while I have the espresso out, let's bring in our sentiment, which is always thinking of you. And this is just going to go on a very small strip of white. Let's see, where do I want to put that? Right about there, I think. Always thinking of you. And that's an espresso on white. Nice little narrow strip again. All right, so for this sentiment, I am going to trim the end this way. Now, I just grabbed my paper snips. So you never know what I'm going to use in my craft room. I just have everything everywhere. All right, so this is going to be on here. Always thinking of you. Love it. Now we need to die cut our little birdie. So once we get the die out, this would be the die that will come over here and just cover up our little bird. I love this little bird. He's so cute. So cute. Somewhere I think I have one die cut because I did that earlier. Again, I like to try to do these up ahead of time. So here he is die cut. This is what he would look like. Now to make him look like this, we're going to bring back in the espresso ink. And again, this time I have a dauber. So I went back to the dauber. Now this time the dauber is a smaller way to go ahead. And I'm just going to do the edges and a little bit into my little bird here. And of course, you're going to get ink on your fingers. You're going to get inky fingers, but that's okay. People will know what you're doing. And if they don't know what you're doing, you're going to tell them what you did, and they're going to want to do it too. And then you're going to have friends that are going to stamp with you. It's going to be awesome. So carry those inky fingers around with you wherever you go. People will be like, what have you been up to? All right, so there we go. Deepened down my little birdie. So the reason I wanted to make him darker is I really wanted him to pop against the petal pink, because I had a petal pink bird against a petal pink circle, even though it's embossed. So I really wanted to make him darker. And I feel like that little bit of embossing, that little bit of sponging with the espresso ink is just fantastic. So that's really the way to go with that. All right, so we're going to put a dimensional on the back of here. Actually, first I want to make sure, I might trim this. I gave you a long piece because I wanted you to have a long piece. I'm going to trim it down though, and we're going to put a dimensional just on the part where it says U, because the rest of it's going to come across here. And because we have so many layers coming uphill here, it just works perfectly to have one dimensional on one side, and then it's going to lay nice and flat over here on the other side. So I'm going to take that off of there, add a little adhesive, and we're going to pop this on here, always thinking of you. I'm going to try to line up my sentiment here nicely. A nice thing about having one dimensional and having glue is that you can kind of wiggle this up and down a little bit when you first put it on. It's a really nice feature. I love that feature. All right, now we're going to glue our little bird on, and now as you can see, this is going to cover up just the edge of this sentiment piece, so it's going to kind of hide that rough edge, and it's going to just put this little guy right here on the circle. And again, this is just really an easy, quick card. Think about how many colors you could do this card in, right? You could probably, color swap time. I was just thinking, I haven't picked out color swap, but this could be my color swap card. I may be doing this guy in some different colors, just saying. On Wednesday over on Positive Paper Crafters, we do color swap. I'm going to take a card and I'm going to change it up, and you guys are going to tell me which one you like better. Who wore it better is what we call it. Who wore it better? And I think this might be the card. I hadn't decided, but as I was talking and doing this class, I was like, wow, how many colors could I make this in? This could be a really cool color swap card. This was an easy card to put together too. So simple, right? So here is the autumn card. Let's bring all our cards back in here at the end so we can see all of our cards together. Cards. All right, I'm just switching back over here, making sure I'm in camera shot here. Okay, there's my autumn card, my summer card, and my spring card. I want to know which one do you guys like the best? Of these three cards, which one is your favorite? I know that my fans of blue are going to love the blue, but I don't know, the spring card, the autumn card. I mean, there's some good choices here. So that is your weekly card class from Maine. I hope you guys enjoyed the Nested Friends bundle. I really had fun playing with it. I feel like there's so much more that I can do with it. Patty says blue, Jess wants blue. Who knows? I know if Lori watches, she's going to tell me to do it in purple. So that could be a fun card to change up some color on. I'm going to give it some thought. And hi from the Cape, the peach. I love the petal pink tones too. They look so beautiful with the Cajun craze. Rhonda says they're hard to pick. This is a nice set of cards. This is a really nice set of cards. I think Melissa says spring eggs, then blue. Yes. I mean, really, that's so awesome. The spring one. The spring one was different for sure. I like to try to create a nice cohesive set of cards for you in this card kit. And thank you, Sandra. I'm glad that you think they're all so much fun. So that way, if you do get the card kits and you create them, maybe you're giving them as a gift to someone who's not creative and they want cards. And then if you wrap them up really pretty and give them away, they work together so nicely. And I think that's a really awesome gift. You have the gift and the joy of stamping, and then you can share that gift by giving to someone else who can pass the cards along. I just really love that. Thank you so much for enjoying my card class. Now, if you have any other questions on the creation, please leave your comments here. I'll check them back, especially if you're watching replay on YouTube. Don't forget, these card kits will come in the mail. I will mail them next week in on Tuesday, because in Maine on Monday we have Patriots Day. It's a holiday, and we have the day off. We don't have post office, we don't have bank, we have a holiday next Monday. So I'll be mailing these card kits on Tuesday instead of Monday. But we have the host code. It is open through Friday evening. Thanks for enjoying the nested friends. Thanks for being my friends, you guys, and enjoying these cards with me. All right, that's it for me. I will see you on Thursday at 3 for a card class, a quick card class, and I'll be back again next Monday at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye, everybody.